Oh, hey guys, it's MJ from Ultra Love TV. How are you? I feel like I'm getting in a bit of a new flow with these little afternoon shares after my very early starts. I highly enjoyed our intuitive tarot live session this morning, and as often is my routine, I'm going for a walk this afternoon and wanted to share a little insight that I'm getting around these energies and transitioning into new worlds. And the one thing that I'm increasingly aware of is how the intuition, imagination, that creative field has very much moved into the future, as it were. It's very much organizing, tending, and planning, more anchored in that sort of future timeline. Of course, that could be like tomorrow. But energetically speaking, that's where that sense of mastery starts to come in, because there's each cycle, each wave, each layer, moment, conscious breath, present, thing, there's an increased sense of, okay, like this is how it works. This is how I'm manifesting my world. And also that where that joy piece comes in, and that we can't really fake it as such. And at the same time, the playfulness of aligning ourselves with our imagination is ultimately what faking it means. It's a vibrational essence of "Hola, Scott." It's a vibrational essence of joy and expectancy, innocence. It's a childlike quality that ultimately, what I'm finding, that lightness and on a cellular level is what can quite instantaneously kind of lift me out of a bit of a funk, a bit of a downturn, blah, blah, what is live? Hey Faye, how are you? And then, sometimes within a few moments, there's this energetic shift of, right, what we're gonna do, what's moving through. And I'm just increasingly fascinated with the ebbs and flows of life, and also our ability as a human to be present with ourselves, to be present with our emotions, to be present with what we're projecting. And I'm increasingly aware of this kind of how the wave function works across the field in the collective as well. And I'm aware of empowering the empath, trying to flow. It's quite confusing times. Oh, my God. Definitely. Thanks for that little insert, Faye. I appreciate it. I think that's really part of presently why I'm incredibly grateful for the yoga, the meditation, the ability to relax consciously and then go for walks. There's this whole year, I'm starting to literally, in the last like 24 to 48 hours, I've had another insight around the lessons for me of this last year. And the word frugal has been coming up. And it's a word that I never imagined myself, I guess, embodying to a certain degree, but also allowing. In my ability to really be appreciative of the what isness, and embodying the values of my own brand around sustainability and buying secondhand and not wasting food, and being frugal, not lackey, not fearful around having lots and having abundance. But the abundance isn't driven wholly, well, I mean, to a certain degree it is, but of course it's more balanced. It's from a more whole place of abundance is family, abundance is balance, abundance is social, abundance is living in alignment, abundance is money, abundance is freedom, abundance is, all these different qualities. And I am more frugal, and I guess from where I've come from, that is frugality even a word? I'm not sure. But that feeling actually feels more abundant to me at this point in my life, and I guess in alignment. But it also feels responsible to me, and I think that is a positive thing. So going back to like how confusing the energies are, yeah. Hence our continuing practice to be present with like just the feelings of the present, just being with what is, and then disciplining the mental space using breath and body work. So, every morning I'm just it never, all these years later, doesn't cease to kind of astound me and amaze me when I move, when I'm doing my yoga practice, or if I'm inspired to put music on and just, shake about, shake about. That brings me back into the present. It brings me into my body, and it feels good. Cooking whole food, cooking, this morning I cleaned the whole house, did lots of pottering, and then, yeah, for sure. And then cooked some food. This would be a more exemplary day, domestic goddess. Other days I might not have the flow for that, the energy for that. But Faye, your question, like it's a daily practice, yeah. And I've realized that, but it's not like formal the way I've ebbed and flowed in a kind of more rigidity around a practice and then flow out of that. And I do, and I ebb and flow with it. But taking time to sit quietly, taking time to rest the body, moving the body dynamically, is a daily flow, because I guess because I've had the discipline for so long. At the same time, if that flow isn't there, if it's more of a day of rest, if it's a day of the body not wanting to move, it doesn't. But during these confusing times, I'm increasingly aware, and I am a thinker, I am cerebral, all that kind of stuff. I'm acutely aware of how my embodiment practices, getting outside in nature most days, if not every day, like that's an intention, a daily walk, usually anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour or 2 hours, with headphones or not, just walking peacefully, and I tend to walk pretty slow as well. A daily walk, a daily movement session, sometimes twice daily, that's just naturally what flows into my reality. Because sometimes I feel like relimbering in an evening pocket of time. Usually a relaxation as well, because I wake up at the crack of dawn, way before the crack of dawn, actually. I'm hearing a song. Way to the light of dawn. It's like a Pete Tong like dance tune. Oh, I'm starting to feel the energies of the New Year's celebrations as well, in this weird interlude phase between Christmas and New Year, where I feel like there's this sort of energy of people not knowing what to do with themselves, um, in anticipation. But the confusion, bear in mind as well, I'm just getting this as now for the sensitives, for the empaths in this community, a really nice reminder for myself as well, especially when it's super duper thick and heavy, is, again, we're part of a collective consciousness. So to be super aware that a lot of times when we're feeling some density, if we can really be present with it, we might be able to get an insight about the fact that it's not even totally part of our own field, that we're picking up on a collective frequency, or a collective energetic, basically. And so it's hence the selfishness of the empowered empath to really just take as much time as you want to really do what you want to do for you. And that's been, I gotta say, a huge part of the journey. I'm more honing in on that for the last like 3.5 years for me, is like embracing like that solitude, self-care, what it feels like, what it looks like for me at this point in my life, unapologetically. And then being really grateful for it as well, because that's some of the beauty and polarity of all the challenge that I've given myself at this phase of my life. At the same time, I'm really aware that we're riding it out, and we are beginning to build new structures, and a lot of us are kind of the kind of leading edge of this consciousness shift, of this paradigm shift, to take brothers and sisters, to take us out of these dense collective structures, which is programs, which is I would say false or illogical from a whole perspective. Even the programs around these holidays, like these forced sort of global holiday structures, a lot of that can eventually kind of dissolve as well. For a lot of us, energetically speaking, it's freedom. We're moving into greater joy and greater freedom, in acknowledging our past and where we've been, and digging deep within to own the truth of our knowing around the manifestation. That's certainly been like just a little loop in this last phase, which is becoming more clear to me, is often how easily we can get entangled back into those 3D paradigm constructs. And because we so like to give and make people feel good, before we know, we're a little bit entangled in feeding that paradigm again, because it's normal. And then usually at this point we'll have certain early onset trigger points that can start to help us pull in a thread to discern what that manifestation is representing for us in our life, in as far as dissolving and or transforming the karmic backlog around disempowered patterning, right? Disempowered, unconscious people pleasing, feeding, worrying mentality, looping into a little bit of weird gossip energy when we're doing the whole social game of niceties, basically. And it's constant, I must say. It's just kind of constant inner work. However, fortunately, obviously, the rewards of our more benevolent, grace-filled existence keeps it all going. And because we're, the higher self is us as well, it's when we traverse a profound lesson or karmic healing or whatever, it's meant to be profound for the various lessons and embodiment integration tools that it allows us as a being, as a human. So you can't fuck with the process, basically, that you've already laid out in front of you. Hence the idea of owning and transforming our pain versus the old default agenda, which most of us will have inherited, is the blame and attack culture, instantly pushing against the feelings that are coming up for us, rather than the new paradigm perspective of, and hence why the discipline of meditation, yoga, and embodiment practices is so profound. The holding of space, the ability just to be present with what is, and ultimately to be able to do that for ourselves is the primary practice. To hold space for self, to be present with the emotional. That's the pain body. In Eckhart Tolle's language, the presence and the power of now is our ability to clear karmic backlog and ancestral imprints via the presence field of our light of the awareness, basically. The karmic backlog, to me, is what gets healed. The genetic coding, the more present we are, the more we can be present with the waves of energy that move through us. And that would be the pain body releasing itself, and or you could say the ego death, right? And or the fight flight reptilian brain function in our lower dimensional aspects as a humanity. So integrating that and then rising it at this stage, I can simply reflect back the simplicity of the daily work, movement, eating food that feels good for you and whole for you, and is representative of love for you, loving all aspects of self that are in the projection field right now, and then practicing the energy of the love, because right now I'm very aware of how aware we might just be of the kind of walking a tightrope of the old and the new. And so somebody, was it you, Scott? Somebody sent a message about that, of like feeling I'm in between these two worlds, or these two gates, kind of thing. And I get that, moving into a new world with all of this very powerful astrology is significant for the collective, and it's by design. That's part of the kind of epicness of all of it, is from the broader aspect, the bigger picture, the more expanded aspect of the self. This is like, get ready, folks, you're in for a wild ride. Like, it's pretty cool. It's exciting. Was thinking food. Ooh, food, yeah. That was part of my, like, happy home today. Much love and healing to you and everyone, Faye. Lots of chica. I cleaned the whole house, did my bedding, did my laundry. I'm like sharing because I feel proud of all the things I did this morning, like before 8 o'clock in the morning, after I did the live share and the postings. And then I cooked a stew, and the stew was broccoli, cauliflower, beans, chickpeas, lentils, loads of like different herbs and spices, some garlic. So yeah, loads of like yummy, warming stew food for like Christmas vibrashe. I'm kind of all chocolated out, although I just, as I say that, I'm like, nope, I actually did have a little like chocolate lolly today, so. But compared to like the last 2 to 3 days, I think I'm like over the sweets now. I'm over the chocolate and the sweets. I'm ready to kind of like, I'm craving spinach and fruit basically. So I think some of the delightful luxuries of the holiday season have now been tastily ingested by my taste buds, and yeah, I usually ebb and flow. It's usually no more than like a day or two of sugars that I'm back on the like what people would call like healthy superfood vibrashe. But that's just like what feels good to from all to love. And I respect everyone's connection and point of attraction when it comes to food. At the same time, I have a close relative who recently got in touch. They're actually vegetarian as well. Their partner is not, but they're happy to eat veggie. And they watched another documentary. I can't actually remember what they said. Have you seen this? And I said no, and they said it wasn't a vegan documentary particularly, but the stats, figures, whatever, it was a health documentary on some level, and the stats were all leading to basically like plant-based diet is definitely like, you know, the healthiest for us as humans, which I align with and basically always have ever since I was a little person. So at the same time, I'm aware of higher manifestation and how people work with their connection and thus everything they consume. I'm just somebody at this point, and regarding Alta Love as a lifestyle brand, I choose to propagate a vegan lifestyle, mainly plant-based, a zero waste lifestyle, as close as we can get to like not producing more shit. And then recycling and disposing of our waste responsibly. And then freedom, like unplug from mainstream, and then find, like I've been talking about in the share, my yoga and meditation practice in Spirituality Simplified, which is the other Be the Change course. It's all about kind of getting connected to your source and then finding those quote unquote spiritual practices that align for you. And that's something I've always been quite gentle about as well. Like, yoga is not necessarily for everybody. And I'm aware of the polarity of even how people can get really turned off by the yoga industry at this point as well. But I always want to say, like, shop around. Because we are living in a material world, and I'm a material girl. You know, we are living in a material world, and I am a material. Do, 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 do. Do, do. A material, a material, a material. And that's a wrap, folks. That's why I like just spontaneously going live and sharing a little like insert that comes into my lovely brain, which I look after and love my brain power and my mind and my heart and my body. It's all heart love. Oh, see, this is the point where I'm like, turn it off, turn it off, stop talking, stop talking. But I am gonna go because the outdoors are calling me. I shall venture out for a lovely brisk walk and maybe get a vegan cookie. I don't know. You know? So have a great day, you guys. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for being here. Thanks for choosing love. Thanks for subscribing and liking and intermingling your consciousness with All to Love TV. I had some yummy dark chocolate roasted chickpeas. Ooh, girl. I had some, that's made me think of a snack that I found recently. So I ebb and flow. I go through phases of like, ooh, crisps, and then I'll go off crisps, like, ooh, tortilla, ooh, go off, and then poppadoms. Like I basically ebb and flow. I've been really into Bombay mix lately. And then I found some kind of like roasted or fried, not sure, chickpea, but it's like coated, my mouth's watering when I'm thinking of these little snacks. But they're like chickpea crunchies with a salt and vinegar flavor, like, and they're really good because they're like really salty and like vinegary, and they're like chickpeas. So I know my mouth easily starts to water. I salivate when I think of certain foods. Hi. Carob. Carob is yummy. Carob is like a chocolate replacement thing, isn't it? What up, Christian? Hey, Jasmine T. Oh, hey, y'all. I agree. Carob is good. Agree. A well-balanced wellness program. Yeah, like a little bit of everything. And like just self-love is just the like reign supreme as far as like I'm just aware of like the polarity and how the polarity is always within us with these different vibrational thresholds, and we're always reflecting parts of ourselves back to one another, and it's all about our perspective and interpretation of how we learn those lessons, and it's different for everybody, and yeah, it's just non-stop continuous. Hence, and that is why MJ meditates and relaxes a lot, because you can see how I can get on a thread and the mind can just like, and off we go. Off we go. So yeah, I look forward to doing yoga with you guys soon, one day. Somewhere magical, I'll be. And just super on flow and alignment. And I'm feeling gently and groundedly really stoked about having made it this far. And in a very bizarre turn of events, I'm so proud of myself for how frugal I've become. Never I imagined using that word in like a positive. Because to me, my old self would have been like, cheap. You're cheap. Or like, you're tight. Or that has something to do with lack. And I'm like, oh no, it doesn't. Frugal to me is more about responsibility and also like a wholeness. Where I guess because of the way the year has panned out for me, it's been all about getting down to the wire around like what's really important. And also I'm like, so the yoga, yeah, eating simply, yeah, not wasting food, obvi, and family. And I'm like, I've been such a bit of a lone ranger, renegade, silent mission that like I had all this underlying kind of family stuff going on, and I'm finally really looking at it and be like, oh yeah, family's really important. No woman is an island, my lovers. we all need our family, no matter how much we love or fucking hate them. That family connection is a huge piece, and I even on that level, without getting too ego vibrashe, I'm really proud of my relationship with my family at this point. I recognize how much healing I've done around it, and genuinely how much love and respect I have for all of them, and also an honoring of the resonance, you know, like just an awareness, but then within that awareness not having to feed certain energies, and but at the same time loving and accepting people for who they are and where they are, and thus being able to accept myself, but also not seeking validation and attention from these people, just like I endeavor to not really seek validation and you know, any polarity of attention from anything or anyone other than my sweet self in everything around me. I just am totally in love with life and myself and all things in it, and at the same time often like, what the hell? What is this? You know that feeling of like, I'm in a body, I'm moving around a planet. I know that my time is limited. That's a collective agreement that humanity's come up with. We die. We leave the body at some point, so I'm like, I'm cool with that. In the meantime, after a fair amount of internal struggle, I'm finally like seeing all this nether layer of like, oh my god, I can lay that down. I can lay that struggle down. I don't need to carry it anymore. Like, what a fucking relief. And but at the same time, I'm also so acutely aware of how real it all feels and looks and seems. Hence that again, paradigm shift, spiritual perspective of breaking free from the illusions. I would just say, yeah, there's just a process to it. It's internal, for sure, but it's way deeper and more profound than I ever imagined, 10, 15 years ago. It's like positive thinking, mind over matter. Yeah, just think positive and but that's cool. That's cool, because like the world that I'm creating has been catching me, being like, come, I swallow. I'm gonna go. I'm talking shit. But shit filled with rose petals and hot licorice. It's you guys. This is one mind right here, you guys. So just trust whatever you hear come out of my mouth is part of your awareness as well. I wish you well. I hope that you're all having a glorious day. And thanks for being here. Thanks for showing up and making my world a better place. Have a great day, you guys. I'll see you tomorrow morning, probably for some more tarot love, light, hot love all over your face. Boom. Have a good day. Peace out, you guys.